Well, no, I didn't. Oh, see, she got the... Anyway, I have reached my destination. And the other thing about the destination, even in Kiev, you know, people don't seem to be too worried about time. They're very vague, and they rely on phoning up 10 minutes after they were supposed to be somewhere else and saying, oh, yes, by the way, you should be somewhere else. All right, I'm complaining, and I'm sure I'm breaking every rule in the book. So let me get down to my topic. It is very difficult, actually, predicting the future. In fact, a philosopher has said that, have actually reduced their arguments to say you can say nothing about the future. And anyone who's tried, as Victor has, to invest in the stock market will know that all the advertisements these days should have rather small print saying the fact that the stocks went up yesterday or this investment has increased by 100% per day over the last 5 years is no guarantee that it may not fall tomorrow. So forecasting is difficult, and believe me, not just in Ukraine. Now, the subject of my talk, and I've already taken about 50% of either the 7 minutes I was allotted, is lies, damn lies, and I would like to hear what word you think is missing. What words? Have you heard the quotation? There are statistics, yes. Pavel Barry knows very well. Other people have not heard it. Could anyone tell me who is supposed to have said it first? Believe me, I didn't say it first.
Mark Twain.
Yes, Mark Twain, if you talk to the Americans, Benjamin Disraeli, who was one of Queen Victoria's favourite prime ministers, in the English book of quotations said he said it. Be that as it may, it's something which is, in the English-speaking world, is so often quoted, especially when I tell people that I'm a teacher of statistics. And as you see, I'm a very sensitive person. I haven't learned this positive message from your charming Svetlanas here, so I go, no. But I will try to get to the heart of my subject and get that, especially over to your heart. If you feel that and agree with that, I have the greatest sympathy with you, because I think statistics has done itself a great disservice. And I think it's, dare I say it, it's been badly taught, and I think a lot of extravagant claims have been made for statistics, and especially in the field of forecasting. Okay, the other thing about getting to the hearts of people is to get people involved and have a few visual aids. Guess what I got here? Some dice and a piece of string. I want to make 2 points which I think are badly emphasized in the conventional teaching of statistics. And that is, has anyone heard of the bell curve or the Gaussian curve or the normal curve? Yes. Okay, if you open, or even you don't even have to look at many books on statistics, and you'll see this shape. But you won't see that shape, because
you have to, let me help you.
Okay, it's the bell curve, yes, and a lot of people, and if I drop dead in the next few minutes, I do actually find it quite difficult to forecast. And at my age, the probability of dropping dead in the next few minutes is, I hope, much higher than anyone else in this room, because you're all so much younger. Okay, but the bell curve conveys the attitude that things you observe in life are symmetrically distributed. And yet, there's so many examples. I'm sure if you just miss a bus, but it says on the timetable the buses go every 5 minutes, you say, oh, that's all right, it's now 4 minutes to 8, there's bound to be a bus at 1 minute past 8, because it says the buses go every 5 minutes. Exactly, or within a minute. Is that your experience?
Yeah.
Really? Well, you're lucky. It's not mine. But that's because everything is so well planned in Kiev. Believe me, in London it doesn't, because with the best will in the world, buses get held up, they're subject to all sorts of variation, to stray causes which people cannot forecast, and so you might just miss a bus, you might be very lucky, and there's one just behind, but the next time you have to wait for half an hour. Okay? And so if you try to examine the times between one bus or another, and there are many similar events in life like this, it's not remotely symmetrical. Okay? In the case of the buses, you get quite a lot of short intervals of perhaps only 5 to 10 minutes, but the average is brought up to 30 minutes by some intervals as long as an hour. It's very frustrating, but at least if we could get away from the idea that everything in life is uniformly distributed, then I think we as statisticians might be a bit more popular than we are. Okay, why have I got this piece of string? Well, I want to show that none of us are symmetrical. Yes? And I'm sure you, at one level, you experience this when you look in a mirror. I see a good-looking chap. When I see a photograph of myself, I think, what an ugly man. You know, but we have an image of yourself. Okay, so can I have 2 volunteers? Okay, can I have 2 people? Even 3. Well done, Lucy. Okay, 2 will do. Okay, you got here. Okay, now which is the taller of? I think Kiev, right. And am I taller than either of you?
You're taller than me.
Yes, okay, so I'm in the middle. Okay, so if you could stretch the string out and perhaps wind some of this in, okay, and then can you hold it on your head? Just
on my head.
Yes, that's it. Now, I'm going to walk until I'm just touching the string, actually. Yes?
Yes.
So, is this evidence? Am I about right? I'm nearly as tall, okay? So, if people were symmetrical, what would you expect on average? Where would I stand if I'm the middle height amongst 2 randomly selected people? Where would I stand? In the middle, yes. Okay. Well, in fact, this particular example, normally you'll find, and I urge you to take and test it for yourself, that typically, actually, people, the intermediate person will stand closer to the shorter person. Either way, I'd be very surprised, thank you very much, that if you find that the average is in the middle. In fact, if you did it 20 times over, you will not find it's 10 closest to the shortest and 10 closest to the tallest. You will, as I say, typically find that perhaps it's 15 closest to the shortest and only 5 closest to the tallest. So that's a simple example, which, to my mind, you can try this out in 15 minutes, which shows actually that a lot of the examples in the books are wrong, because they will insist that if say, the mean height, the average height of people is, and what is it in centimetres, say 175 centimetres? Is that a typical height? Okay, I can't think in centimetres. Let's say 200 centimetres. You're a giant, okay? Well, the symmetrical curve will say that there are as many people taller than 200 plus 10 as there are shorter than 200 minus 10. Rubbish! Okay? It's just not. And yet so many statistics books and so many examples you will see perpetuates this myth. And it's one of the things where we as statistics teachers, I think, deserve the bad reputation we've got. The other thing is that, I know I'm going to upset our physicists here, is that you open a typical physics book and it's full of horrible equations. If you're a grade school teacher and you teach mathematics and your head suddenly decides, oh, we should be teaching statistics, do they ask for the historian to teach it? Yes? I think it might be a good idea. Do they ask the philosopher to do it? Do they ask for the classical teacher to teach statistics? They look in headmasters looking round. Who's going to teach statistics? Oh, you do maths. You come and teach statistics. And this happens, and poor mathematics teachers have to prepare very quickly to teach statistics. And this comes over, I'm afraid, in so much of what are the textbooks I have read. And I've read quite a few of them because when I come to Ukraine, I don't get too much choice of what textbooks I can use. It's put in front of me, this is the book which you will teach from. Okay, well, I've got some other visual aids. I can't get on to this. So that's one of my big messages, and I go around trying to shock people by saying that really, mathematicians, get out from statistics, okay? Of course, as with a physicist, mathematics is a great servant, but it is a servant of statistics, just as mathematics is a servant of physics. It's not, it's a separate subject. And you can teach, I believe, the fundamentals of statistics without with very little mathematics. I'm not saying that those fundamentals are easy to grasp, not a bit of it, but they are difficult in a different way than solving a 5, I can't, Cavell He'll tell you if his name was Favel, you know, a long, complicated equation which requires lots of calculus and stuff. Very clever stuff. You don't need to be that, I think, to understand that sort of mathematics in order to appreciate statistics. Okay, I'm fiddling with these dice. I must have brought these for some reason. Who would... There you are, sir. Okay, now can you just do a quick test and see how many times you get an odd number? An odd number, of course, is 1, 3, or 5. Yes? Well, there are lots of other odd numbers, but on the dice, you've got 3 odd numbers, 1, 3, and 5, and what we call even numbers, which are 2, 4, and 6. Okay? So just try tossing your dice a few times and see how many odds you get. What proportion of odds you get. You can throw it around, get somebody else to try it. 3 out of 6, okay? And how many did you get?
5, 5, 1.
5 out of 6, okay? So, what were you expecting? Now, okay, now can I suggest that this gentleman and the young ladies, could you now look closely at that dice?
I don't understand.
What, can you examine it? If you were at a casino, or if I met you on the train and offer you some vodka and said, let's do some gambling, would you be, and I produced that dice, would you be happy?
Mm-hmm.
Looks, would you be happy?
2, 3.
Yes. I'm not sure which way it came out, okay, but this dice, I would expect in the long term, you get an equal number of odd numbers and even numbers. This one I wouldn't. But why? Because I had some prior knowledge about that dice. Okay? And how do you combine prior knowledge with any other evidence that's coming to you? And this is a major problem which statistics addresses. Statisticians argue over it, but again, the arguments don't depend fundamentally on mathematics. Yes? And we start using some technical language. If I was with that dice, of course, it may have other biases. It may be not a fair dice as well as the fact... I'm sorry, people perhaps didn't see this, you see, but if you look fairly carefully, you can see that I've fiddled this. I changed that 2 into a 3, so with this dice, I would start with the null hypothesis, not that half the times it would come down with an even number, but only 1/3 of the time. That's because I have some prior knowledge, okay? And this fundamental idea comes into so many aspects of our lives, and this is something I try to get over, that statistical thinking is fundamental to a lot of other areas of human activity, notably in the law. Okay? And I'm not sure if it's true in Ukraine, but in the United Kingdom and in the West, if somebody is accused of murder, we start from the hypothesis that that person is innocent until proved guilty. Yeah? Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's true in Ukraine, though one hears, and of course it's the law is an ass, as Charles Dickens said, I think once, and I'm not going to suggest that the law is any more. Are there any lawyers here?
No. No,
good. Okay. Well, you know, one of the statistics about lawyers is a great shame that next to statisticians they have such a bad reputation. It's a shame because actually 95% of lawyers give the rest a bad reputation. Ha ha ha! Joke, right. Thank you for you laugh in response. I'm sure I've had more than my 7 minutes, but 15 minutes. So, yes, so what in law is called the burden of proof. And again, if this is a technical matter, I believe in a civil case, like getting divorced, or if I think that Lucy has done a deal and not been very fair to me, it's not a criminal case. Normally, I have to. The burden of proof was I have to go to her and try to sue her. And if we go to law, then we decide on the balance of probabilities. But in criminal law, we don't. And I'm sure this is true in Ukraine. It's one of it's okay. We give people the benefit of the doubt. Okay, which has it has some problems, and any lawyer will admit. But one of the one of the inevitable problems with this attitude to criminal law